What's going on, Jam fam? So recently I was watching a video on YouTube by this guy named Raz. This is his second channel. His main channel is named Razbutin. He's like a video essayist where he talks about like different aspects of video games and stuff like that. Amazing creator. If you're ever bored and want to listen to somebody yap about video games, make sure you go check out either one of his channels. But the video I want to talk about is this one right here, his most played games on Steam. Basically, he just looked at his Steam playlist, seen what had the most hours, and then talked about why he enjoyed those games and why he had so many hours in them. And this got me wondering, what are my actual most played brawlers in Brawl Stars? Now, unfortunately, we don't have a perfect way of tracking this unless there's like a website that I don't know about. But in-game, there isn't anything that actually tells you like this is your win and loss record with this brawler or anything like that. But we do have something that is somewhat close, and that's going to be the mastery system. Now, I know this isn't going to be perfect because, you know, mastery can be like pushed and like changed and all that stuff. But in theory, if you play a brawler a lot, you're going to earn more mastery on them. And then that's going to push them up higher on your list when you sort your brawlers by mastery. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at my top 10 brawlers when sorted by mastery, and I'm going to talk about why I enjoy these brawlers and why they might be so high up on my list. Now, before we actually talk about my top 10 brawlers, I want to talk about a couple of honorable mention brawlers really quick. These are brawlers that are not in my top 10, but I have enjoyed playing them a lot more recently, and I can see them making it there eventually. Now, the first brawler I want to talk about is going to be Ollie. Now, Ollie is the second newest brawler in the game. There's a reason why I don't have a ton of mastery on him, simply because I don't have a ton of time to push mastery on him. He's only been out for a month, and I don't grind mastery like that. On top of that, he also wasn't the most fun brawler when he first came out because there was a lot of issues with his kit. The fact that he didn't do really any damage, the fact that he had a mute on his super, there was a lot of problems with him. But those have been addressed, and he is a lot more fun to play now. But I put him here as an honorable mention, not because he got buffs or anything like that, but actually while he was weak, I was not hating playing him. I thought he was a somewhat decent-ish brawler that just had low power imbalancing. There were things in his kit that I actually could point at and be like, yes, you can build around this. He just needs a couple of buffs. And he got a couple of buffs, and he is better now. Things I enjoyed about this brawler was having 11,000 HP. That's a lot of fun. You don't have to worry about getting 1 or 2 tapped by anybody. He can survive a lot of damage. Having a decent amount of range. This brawler is a tank brawler that actually has somewhat decent-ish range. You don't have to get right up in people's faces, and that's a nice luxury to have when you have as much HP as Ollie has. And then the final thing that I really enjoyed was mobility in his kit. The fact that his super was a dash, and he's got a gadget that's a jump. Those are both a lot of fun to use when you have as much HP as Ollie. You can dive in, take advantage of your big HP pool, and then, you know, jump out with your gadget or whatever. A lot of fun, a lot of versatility with this brawler. The only thing was that he was kind of weak, and now that he's got a couple of buffs and he's a little bit better now, I can see myself actually wanting to push him up. All right, next brawler I want to mention is going to be Maisie. Now, when Maisie first came out, she was a brawler I did not care much about, but over the course of time, she has gotten a bunch of buffs, and she's a much different brawler than when she first came out. And I recently started playing her more and realized this brawler's insane. Why does she do so much damage? Why is her super so good? Why did she get her super so quickly? Seriously, if you haven't played Maisie recently, she does 3,000 damage with her main attack, which is absolutely insane. And then on top of that, she gets her super in 4 attacks, which again is really fast for a super that can be cycled so easily, and it applies a slow and allows you to auto-aim on people. Like, she is such a good brawler right now. She's probably the best all-around brawler in the game, and I really enjoyed playing her a lot more. Again, I can see myself pushing her up a lot more. That's why she's in this honorable mentions list. If the map is right and I'm feeling it that day, I could see myself just grinding away on Maisie. That sounded wrong. I shouldn't say it that way. I can see myself pushing a bunch of trophies on Maisie. All right, and the final brawler I actually want to mention is going to be Buster. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not the best Buster player in the world, but what I do enjoy the most about Buster is just the vibes. Everything about Buster makes me enjoy playing the game. Just his voice lines and the way he plays and putting up a shield and stuff like that. He's a satisfying brawler to play when you are playing everything right. But on top of having immaculate vibes, he's also a pretty versatile brawler. You can use him in a couple different places. You know, he's really good in Brawl Ball. He's pretty good in Hot Zone. He's even pretty decent in some gem grab maps. You just really can't play him in Knockout or Bounty. But other than that, he's pretty solid. And in the last couple of weeks, whenever I need to pick a tank, I have found myself going to Buster. And more often than not, I have had decent success with him. He's pretty strong. Like I said, he's versatile and he's just got great vibes. So I have enjoyed playing Buster, and I can see myself actually, you know, trying to get mastery on him, trying to get him further up on this list. All right, so getting into my top 10, Buzz is going to be my 10th most pushed brawler. Now, this is a bit of a dark horse brawler for me, and that's for 2 reasons. First off, you don't see me play Buzz all that often, and second off, I have recently become a Buzz hater. I have said that his super is insane and it needs to be nerfed a little bit. So if I don't play him all that often, what happened? How did he make it up into my top 10 like this? Well, that's going to be because like 2 years ago, I really liked Buzz. He was probably like a top 5 brawler for me. I really enjoyed him when he first came out, and I played him a lot since then. And then, you know, when Mastery came in, naturally I'm going to push up more Mastery on him. So that's how he ended up getting a bunch of Mastery on him over the last couple of years. But recently, like not super recently, but like a little while back, I did realize that Buzz is kind of broken and he needs a nerf, and I don't want to play him anymore until he gets a nerf. Now, objectively, everybody down in the comments is going to complain that I called out for a nerf for him, and it's not like I want like his damage nerfed or his range nerfed or anything like that. The thing I want nerfed on Buzz is going to be the hitbox on his super. I feel like that hitbox is super wonky. You don't even have to land a pull. You don't need to be anywhere near people. It feels like the hitbox on that is just insanely huge, and you're going to stun people no matter where they are on the map. And honestly, it just made me sick when I realized how insane that was. Now, I'm not trying to say Buzz is a bad brawler or anything like that. I do think he's objectively good, and he's nice for new players to learn how to play the game patiently, because he's a brawler that is 100% reliant on getting his super, so you have to like lie in wait, charge up your super, then dive on people, and you have to pick your spots pretty well, because if you dive into a 3-on-1, you might land the stun, but once those people are unstunned, if you don't finish them off, they're going to 3-tap you. It's going to be very easy to die as Buzz if you're not patient and you're not picking your spots well, so Buzz can teach those aspects of the game. And on top of that, in a one-on-one situation, he can definitely kill a lot of brawlers. So it's not like he's like a terrible brawler or anything like that. And again, I don't want to see him get nerfed like damage-wise or health-wise or anything. I just want that super hitbox fixed a little bit. But anyway, Buzz is this high on my list just because I used to play him a lot back in the day, and recently I fell out of love with him. I know they're never going to nerf him or anything, and maybe eventually I'll come around to playing him again more, but as of right now, I just have not enjoyed playing him all that much. But he does have a lot of fire skins, so I mean, there's always that. All right, my next most pushed brawler is actually going to be Crow. I smell a rat. All right, Crow is actually going to be on this list because when I just want to get my daily quest done or finish up a star drop or something like that, Crow is normally one of those brawlers I tend to default to for that. Crow's a brawler I like to use in these situations because you can just sit back and play super passively with him. You know, you can just use his range to do damage from afar. His poison allows him to stack damage over time, so you can constantly be doing damage throughout an entire match. And his super gives him a lot of mobility, so, you know, it's very good at securing kills and stuff like that. So, overall, you don't really need to get super sweaty when you're playing Crow. You can kind of just get the job done by playing pretty passively. So while Crow isn't like my favorite brawler or anything like that, I do enjoy his playstyle for what it is. You know, you can kind of relax, just poke away at people, do damage, and, you know, get in and get out of matches. He's very good for that stuff, and I tend to enjoy playing him, you know, when I'm not trying to, like, break a sweat, and I'm not trying to be, like, ultra high pushing and stuff like that. All right, my 8th most pushed brawler is going to be Bell.
First we shoot, and then we loot.
All right, so I'm actually surprised Bell is not going to be higher up on this list because I tend to take Bell a lot in situations where I don't know what brawler to take. Say like draft or something like that. If I can't see a clear brawler that needs to be taken to fill out a team comp, I will default to Bell a lot of the time. Now, I play Bell a lot in these situations because while she's not great at one particular thing, she does a lot of things very well. For example, her main attack has good range and good damage, so you can do good damage into snipers with her. And on top of that, she can also punish grouping, so she can do even more damage from her passive shot bouncing. She can also lay down slowing mines throughout the map, so she can offer some control to a team if you need that. And her super can mark objectives, so like, you know, if there's a tank or a gem carrier that you want to mark, then you can mark them. They're going to take more damage until they die, and all of that stuff is just a very good kit to have, in my opinion. Now, I know it's been a while since Bell has been the best brawler in the game, but she's always been at least an A-tier brawler ever since she's come out. She does a lot of things pretty well. I like to play a lot of Bell. I think she's a very good comfort brawler to have. If you haven't tried her out for any of these situations, just give her a shot, see how you like her. But in my opinion, Bell just does everything well enough so that if you don't know what to do, you can just take her. And that's why I'm not surprised that she's on the list. I'm actually shocked that she's not higher because I tend to take Bell in a lot of these situations, and I think she's okay at that. All right, brawler number 7 is going to be Squeak. Now, I know this is going to be a bit of a weird pick because I know most people don't really care for Squeak, but when he was this high for me, I didn't blink an eye. I really like Squeak, so I'm not shocked that he's up this high for me. Now, I just find Squeak to be a lot of fun. I really like the fact that he's like a sniper brawler mixed with like area of control. I think that is a very interesting design, and I think they did a really good job with Squeak's design. His main attack can be thrown at choke points to make it so people can't move through those choke points without getting hurt. His super can slow people down like crazy, which I think is objectively one of the funnest things in the game, especially if you land a super right on top of somebody and do a bunch of damage and slow them. That's a lot of fun. And he's got one of the best gadgets, in my opinion, being Residue. That is such a good gadget that leaves a lingering pool on the ground that causes people to be slowed. I really like that gadget. I know it's been nerfed a couple of times and it deserved to be nerfed, but I still think it is very good and I still use it a lot. Honestly, the only real big issue I have with Squeak is that his damage tends to be quite inconsistent because it can be tricky to land your attack directly on people. And if you don't land it directly on people, they have plenty of time to just walk out of that area. So it can be very inconsistent to play Squeak efficiently. But when you play Squeak really good, he's objectively one of the most fun brawlers in my opinion. And like I said, I tend to play a decent amount of Squeak, so I am not shocked that he is my brawler number 7. Brawler number 6 for me is gonna be Brock.
Let's go.
Now, Brock was actually my sleeper pick. I didn't realize I play this much Brock, but apparently I do, and that's why he is this high up on the list. But I guess he's this high up because he's a versatile brawler that I know I play somewhat decently, so I guess I tend to default to him more than I actually realize. For example, he's a sniper brawler, so you can play him in Knockout and Bounty. He's got a wall break, and that's a very nice feature to have in pretty much every Brawl Ball map. And he can even work in like Hot Zone because he's got Incendiary on his main attack. So that's going to leave a pool of fire that can cause area of denial on the Hot Zone, so they can even work in those situations too. You already heard me say that Bell tends to be my comfort pick brawler, and I guess maybe Brock should be that guy because he does a lot of things very well. I just listed all those, and I've already pushed him up like this, like without even realizing it, so maybe I should just default to Brock for a comfort brawler. I don't know. We'll see what happens moving forward, but Brock is number 6 on the list. All right, now we're getting into the top 5, and brawler number 5 is going to be BB. All right, so if you're an old Jam fam member, then you know BB is going to be my original main brawler. I used to tout BB being one of the best brawlers in the entire game for the longest time, and I have since moved on from BB being my main, but I still really enjoy playing the brawler when I do pick her up from time to time. She was my first rank 25 brawler. She's probably the brawler that made me the best at the game because she wasn't really that good at the time that I was pushing her, but I forced her and I was able to actually like get good at some of the hard matchups when I played her a lot. And I got pretty decent with her at one point, but I never felt like I was super amazing with her, which is probably why I moved on from playing her as much as I used to. But objectively, she's still going to be a fun brawler for me to play. I'm never going to hate playing BB when I have to. I really enjoy playing her a lot of the time. It's always going to be fun to knock people into walls when you play as her. And she can charge hypercharges very easily and cycle them very easily. So that's always going to be fun. Throwing out 2 bubbles and, you know, doing a ton of damage while her hypercharge is active is going to be great. And honestly, the gadget rework made her a lot better because now she can pop unlimited gadgets on a very short cooldown. So she's going to have a ton of healing in her kit nowadays too. So objectively, she's still going to be a very good brawler, and I'm not shocked to see her this high. And honestly, I will eventually end up pushing her even more. But as of right now, I just haven't played her a ton recently. All right, brawler number 4 is going to be Byron.
Sensational.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie, I am shocked to see Byron this high up on the list. Now, I guess I play way more Byron than I realized, but honestly, it's not a situation like Brock where if I think about it, I do play a lot of Brock. No, Byron just ended up making it to this list on his own. He did it through his own merits, and I didn't even realize that I play that much Byron. Now, there are a lot of things I do like about Byron. I do like the fact that he's a sniper brawler that can do healing. That's a very nice feature to have. So, like, when you're playing with a tank or whatever, and they're in the middle of a fight, you can shoot them and, you know, eventually do damage or heal them a lot. So, just shooting into a fight, that's going to be very beneficial for your team. And he's got one of the best supers in the entire game, in my opinion. The fact that it's a big burst heal and a big damage burst on an enemy and a teammate at the same time is super beneficial. So, like, if an enemy jumps on top of you, you could throw that right at your feet, heal yourself, do big damage to the enemy. That's really good. Or if your teammate's in a fight, you could throw that their way. It'll heal them, it'll damage the person they're fighting, and probably swing that fight for them. Very good stuff right there on that super. It's very underrated in my opinion. Now that I thought about it a little bit, I guess if I'm going to play a healer, I want to play Byron more than any other healer. Like, there are very good healers in this game, like Barry or Poco, but I think Byron is the most versatile of those in my opinion. He's a sniper, he's got good burst damage, and Barry does have that to an extent, but he's also got very limited range, and it's very frustrating. And then Poco is kind of just a healer. He doesn't do damage. He doesn't really bring a lot to a team other than just healing. So I guess Byron tend to be like the one that I want to go to when I do want to play a healer. So I guess that might inflate his numbers a little bit, and that's why he might be number 4 for me. All right, now we are getting to my top 3 brawlers, and number 3 is gonna be Larry and Lori. All right, so Larry and Lori are the new kids on the block for me. I love these brawlers. They are my favorite brawler that came out of the year of 2024, and they will stay that way for a very long time. Now, before you accuse me of just liking the brawler because they were super broken when they first came out, I did not really play that much Larry and Lori when they first came out. I tended to avoid them because honestly, I don't like playing overpowered brawlers all that much. After Larry and Lori received all of their nerfs, that's when I started pushing them a little bit more, and that's when I realized, yeah, this brawler is really good, even after all the nerfs. They are still very good. They are still one of the best brawlers in the game to this day, and they received a ton of nerfs. Honestly, there's just not one bad thing this brawler really does. They just do so much stuff very well. For example, their main attack does a good amount of damage, and it's a thrower brawler, so you don't need to get into people's faces. You can hang out behind a wall, throw this shot out. It'll do like 2,800 damage if you land both parts of it, but even if you land one part of it, it's still 1,400 damage, which is pretty decent chip damage. Then, if somebody tries to get in your face, you can just throw your super down at your feet, and then Lori's going to bail you out. He is going to shred anything that gets right next to you. And if he gets low, you can pop your gadget for a little mobility. You can heal him up with that, or you can use it to get away from people too. You can throw it like into the distance, pop the gadget, and it'll move you around. It's a very good gadget. It's a very good super. Now, I know Larry and Lori are like the poster child for a brawler being broken on release, and that's when a lot of people had pushed them up and probably haven't touched them since. But like I said, I waited till the brawler got nerfed, and that's when I actually started playing them and realized, yeah, this brawler is really good. I really like this brawler. They do everything pretty well, nothing really bad, and they just tend to be a lot of fun for me to play. I've already pushed Larry and Lori up to 1,000 trophies. I've apparently played them a lot to get a decent amount of mastery under them. They are my top 3 brawler, and I'm not shocked at all about that because, like I said, they were one of my favorite brawlers to play all of last year, and I am not shocked that they are number 3. All right, brawler number 2 is gonna be Pearl. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Pearl is the one outlier out of this entire list. Everything up to this point, I have pushed passively. Pearl is the one brawler that I have gone out of my way to push mastery for because I think she has one of the best mastery titles in the entire game. If she had anything worse, if it was like Cookie Oven or Love or something like that, I would not have pushed Pearl as much as I have. This is the one outlier out of all the ones that I've listed so far. I do not really care for Pearl all that much. She's a fine brawler, but she's not a brawler that I would have pushed to number 2 on my list. I would not have made her gold 2 if it wasn't for trying to get to that mastery title. Now, that sounds really harsh. It makes it sound like I hate the brawler. So let's glaze Pearl a little bit before we move on, because I don't hate this brawler. She just wouldn't be number 2 if it wasn't for the mastery title. Now, things I like about Pearl are that she's an amazing damage dealer. When you have high heat on her and you get into somebody's face, you are going to shred them. You can, like, destroy tanks very easily with this brawler when you have high heat. Her Overcooked gadget is actually amazing at high heat as well, because while she's going to do a lot of damage with her main attack, that's going to add a burn effect that stacks over time. That is a very good gadget. It basically guarantees that you're going to get a kill if you full clip somebody. Her super is also very satisfying when you land it on people. Even at low heat, it's going to do a decent amount of damage, and it supplies a wall break for your team as well. So that is always nice to have as well. Now, the one thing I don't love about Pearl is how long it actually takes her to build up heat when you are playing her. Like, it can feel like you're waiting around a lot because, you know, she doesn't really do a lot when her heat is low. So you kind of have to play kind of passively until you have high heat. Then you can get in somebody's face and secure a kill. But until then, you're just kind of a sitting duck. But for the most part, Pearl is a pretty fun brawler, and I have not hated playing her, but I truthfully find her a little bit boring, and she would not be my number 2 brawler if her mastery title was anything other than Let Me Cook. It's such a cool mastery title, and honestly, I need to get it very soon, and I will probably the next time there's a Mastery Madness or something. I'm very close to it, but as of right now, she's my number 2 brawler, and let's just move on to number 1. Tara. You already knew it. Tara is my number 1 brawler. Yes, if you've been around on the channel for a while, even if you knew like a little bit of my channel, you probably know Tara is my favorite brawler. She is the only brawler that I have gold 3 mastery on. She is the brawler on my player profile. My title is Tara. All my icons are Tara. She is objectively one of my favorite brawlers to ever exist, and she will probably remain to be that way for a long time. She was my second rank 25 brawler. She's the only brawler on the old trophy system that I tried to push to 1,000 trophies. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get that rank 30 on her, but I did get her to 920, which is still pretty respectable in my opinion for an average Joe like me. And she was the first brawler that I pushed to 1,000 trophies on the new trophy system. Now, Tara has always been objectively one of my better brawlers. I tend to play her as a comfort brawler on real bushy maps and stuff like that. I just really enjoy her playstyle quite a bit. The fact that you have to play a little bit slow in the early matches, but once you get your first super, you can basically just cycle supers nonstop for the rest of the match. I really enjoy that. Plus, she's got one of the most satisfying supers in the entire game. If you get a full team pull on somebody, it is so satisfying to land that. Even double pulls are fun to do. Now, truthfully, I haven't played a ton of Tara since I got her 1,000 trophies. I honestly think she's struggling a little bit in this this meta, and I would love to see her get a small damage buff or even a buff to like her supercharge rate, because right now when you don't have her super, she just feels really bad, and honestly she tends to struggle to secure kills right now. But even if she doesn't get a buff, she'll still be a top 5 brawler for me no matter what. Lumi is threatening her right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Lumi does threaten to be my new main, but Tara's always going to have a special place in my heart, and that's why she's my #1 brawler. So there you have it. There's my 10 most played brawlers, at least as far as mastery. There's only 2 brawlers that I went out of my way to push mastery-wise, Pearl and Tara. Tara, I wanted the title, plus she's my favorite brawler anyway, and then Pearl, I just want the title. So honestly, Pearl probably shouldn't be in the list, but she is, so congratulations, Pearl. You get some kind of notoriety around here. But honestly, I do think the list is a bit weird for me because I was not expecting to see so many snipers be this high up, but there's a lot of snipers on this list. There's Belle, there's Byron, there's Brock, there's Squeak, a lot of sniper brawlers, and I don't know why there's so many snipers, but for the most part, whatever. I mean, I'm not questioning it. I do like a lot of these brawlers, so yeah. For the most part, I'd say it's pretty accurate. But anyway, that's going to do it for the video. Make sure you comment down what you think about my list. Let me know how weird I am. Remember, if you like my rambling, make sure you leave a like on the video. And if you're new, consider dropping a sub as well. But that's going to do it for today. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.